On to Belgium for round 8. Gollop hoping to go as well here.
Yeah, it's working really well, and we have a lot more to come yet. So I think they all better look out.
Have you done anything more now before the Belgian race?
No, we have because of the accident, we have a lot of work to do, so the engine is just as it was in Finland.
But still, it's nice to be back really at the top.
It is, very much so, yeah. After nearly 2 years now of working hard at the car, the team's very happy to be back.
What about the race here in Belgium?
Naturally, I hope for a victory, and we have done some small changing on the car, and it feels very good here on the practice, so we look forward for the race.
The track is very bumpy, lots of big stones and everything. What do you think of that?
Yeah, we have only done the first 3 practice, and it's almost like you have done 4 or 5 meetings in a row here, but I feel it's very bad that the organization can't make the circuit better from the beginning, but we hope that overnight they can make it more or lesser bumpy.
Well, call it whatever you want to. It's a bit rough out there, but hopefully it will be better race day, and we may have to have a chat with the organisers about the big potholes and deep loose gravel and things. I think even the autocross boys would have rejected this circuit.
You need a win, Martin, now to be equal with Kenneth.
You always need a win. Yes, that is true. A win here and him second or third, then we draw equal. So really and truly, nothing is settled. But let's hope that the championship is done and dealt with at the last, the final stage in Germany.
One of the new cars being debuted here in Belgium was the Opel Vectra 4x4 Turbo in the hands of Steinar Joranli. The car proved to be quick straight out of the box, even though it was making up places in a rather forceful fashion. Joranli, in his heat, was soon up into second place behind the Audi inverted person. And then the car fishtailed its way through into the lead. Still in its infancy as far as development was concerned, Joranli was pleased with its initial pace, although reliability would be a problem throughout the weekend in Belgium. The black flag eventually was shown to Joranli as a result of the rather forceful manner in which he'd moved his way up through the field. He was still pressing on, though, until he eventually lost control of the car. Joranli had made an impact, with all the steam and smoke coming out of the engine. It showed that perhaps life had been a bit too fraught. Life was fraught too for Bjorn Skogstad, whose car was almost on 3 wheels. But at least it was on some wheels, which ultimately would be more than you could say for Christer Bolin. Bolin, in the second of the 2 shell-back Toyotas, had been having a fairly checkered season. And here he was going to go out on a roll. He was okay. The car looked rather second-hand afterwards. Christer Bolin out of the heats. Not surprisingly, he wouldn't make it through to the A final, but those that did promised to give plenty of action in this tight and twisty circuit. Philippe Chanouin had been having a fairly trying time with his Renault, which eventually disintegrated around him. With a wheel parting company, the already battered 19 Turbo thundered its way into the bank, and that was him out of contention. Further dramas, Jan Becker with his Nissan managed to avoid most people in the race, but not the banks. Gunder's fan being just as energetic as ever. In the background, Lasse Salström visited the gravel trap. In Division 2, things were quicker, but no less exciting. This, Mikael Jernberg and Tommy Kristoffersson, the 2 Swedish drivers, coming to terms with the banking. The first of the important finals was the ERA Cup. In the previous 7 races had given us 7 different winners. Could we make it 8 from 8 here? It looked as though the answer would be yes. The local driver, Co Kasser, moving through into the lead at the first corner. Behind him, Manfred Beck hit the bank. He was out of contention. All of that left Rudy Lauwers in the lead. The Belgian on target for a popular victory here at his home circuit. That was until post-race scrutineering. Even though the Belgian and his Peugeot 205 had won on the road, he was later to be excluded. And that meant the 8th different winner in 8 rounds was to be Etienne van der Branden, who chased him home in 2nd place. Manfred Beck led the championship, but a point ahead of Lauwers, with Novotny 3rd ahead of Bergvall, Nielsen and Ruud Verkooijen in 6th place. Things in Divisions 1 and 2 getting pretty hectic as well. The lights go green then, the Division 1 A final is underway. Ivan Opland there in the yellowness and getting squeezed out. Gunnar Kittelsen leads ahead of Ludvig Hunsbedt as they all pile into the first corner. Conditions far better for the finals this year than last. Last year they were held in appallingly wet conditions. Now it's nice and dry. Lots of contact there between Hutton and Leidemann, the two championship rivals. Gunnar Kittelsen ahead of Ludvig Hunsbedt. The two Norwegian drivers bouncing their way across the loose, and they're bouncing up onto the bank. Is Leidemann, and that's Hutton! Richard Hutton's car comes to a halt. He is in big trouble. The race leader, Gunnar Kittelsen then, is extending his advantage over Ludvig Hunsbedt, who is in second place. We look back and see who is third. Well, it's a very big gap before the third place man comes into view. Pavel it is at the moment as there. Gunnar Kittelsen comes through in the lead. Is he going to win the A final? He is going to win the A final. Second place goes to Hunsbedt. Kapni takes third ahead of Opland, with Hutton and Leidemann completing the top six. In the championship, Leidemann led, but by taking dropped scores into account, he slipped to second behind the Englishman Hutton. Ludvig Hunsbedt was third. On now to the Division 2 A final. The lights go green and away they go, with Hansen making a tremendous start right round the outside of Schanche. Martin Schanche with the Ford Escort RS2000 is tucked right under the rear wing there of Hansen. He's got Jean-Luc Pailler in third place. Schanche, the 5 times European champion, looking for a way onto terms with Kenneth Hansen. The championship becoming a battle between these two. Schanche there right at some terrifying angles. The car almost gets away from him. He loses second place. Jean-Luc Pailler comes through into second, and that bit of over-exuberance, that excessive zeal, has cost Schanche dear. He's still fighting for control. He runs wide. Gollop's alongside him. Gollop through. Gollop is now third. Schanche's down to fourth, but he's fighting back. Martin Schanche right up behind Will Gollop, trying to take third place away once again, and that's Barry Squibb in trouble. Barry Squibb, the under-financed Torquay hotelier, crawling round. He's got problems, but no dramas at all for Kenneth Hansen. He's on target for his 4th victory of the season. He won in Austria, in Portugal, and in Sweden. The battle raging on there between Gollop and Schanche, as here comes Kenneth Hansen heading towards us. Schanche battling his way up on the inside of Will Gollop, but you see now the Peugeot with its increased power has just got enough grub to stay ahead of the Escort. Citroën first, Citroën second, Peugeot third, and a wildly driven Ford Escort RS2000, that of Martin Schanche, in 4th place. Round the tight hairpin, Kenneth Hansen still clear of the Zantian, now with its rear wing on again. Very narrow corner that, really denying drivers any chance to find a way through midway round the corner. Schanche tucked up behind Gollop, but Kenneth Hansen is making life look very easy. Schanche again trying to find a gap on the inside of Gollop. Bjorn Skogstad going well, he's 5th. Barry Squibb, having retired, will be classified in 6th position. And now Gollop is closing on Pailler, and he's pulled well clear of Schanche. Maybe Schanche has got a problem, but maybe so too has Pailler, because all of a sudden the Peugeot 306 of Gollop is right with him. Schanche there going off briefly in the background. Skogstad closing on his fellow countrymen, the two Norwegians together. Kenneth Hansen, the Swedish man, is in the lead. In second place is Pailler, being far more subdued now in his lines, not really being as extrovert. He's throwing the car around as once he was. He now needs to keep Gollop at bay, being very defensive in his driving there. In 4th is Schanche, 5th is Skogstad, who's been playing all season long by a misfire. It rather looks as though that might have afflicted him once again, because the car was slow out of that corner. Kenneth Hansen does win for the 4th time this season. Jean-Luc Pailler is second. Will Gollop takes third ahead of Schanche, Skogstad, and Barry Squibb classified in 6th place. It's beginning to look like Kenneth Hansen's year. The Citroën ZX seems to be unstoppable now. In the championship, he has 131 points to Schanche's 114. Pailler is third ahead of Eklund, with Gollop 5th and Squibb 6th.